Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com. Sometimes the Extinction Rebellion is a little bit difficult to understand. Experts in Berkeley are complaining that there's too many wild animals invading their town. They say this is because of wildfires and droughts caused by climate change, and they're particularly concerned about all the coyotes. This is a very different story from 60 years ago when Berkeley experts said there weren't enough coyotes. They said coyotes were facing extinction from overhunting, overtrapping, and poisons. So they banned hunting and trapping of coyotes, and now they're complaining that they have too many of them. Apparently, one of the primary symptoms of the mass extinction we're supposed to be experiencing is too many wild animals. And according to these experts, droughts and fires are getting worse in California. The reason they believe this is because they're ignorant of history. On this date in 1943, there were massive forest fires in the Oakland-Berkeley Hills district. The worst of the brush fires swept a mile-and-a-half front on the hillside east of Oakland. And then in 1991, the most destructive wildfire in California's history struck those same hills. Almost 3,500 homes and 2,000 automobiles burned up in that fire. My sister lived up in those hills, and I remember visiting the area shortly after the fire. It was a complete mess with thousands of burned out homes, 25 people killed, and 150 injured. But the press hasn't always been as ignorant and clueless as they are now. 30 years ago, even the New York Times knew that huge fires were the normal climate of California. And they also knew that these fires were associated with La Nina events like the one we've been having the last 2 years. They said western landscapes in pre-settlement era were very smoky places. In 1994, the Los Angeles Times reported that California's had century-long droughts in their past. And they also reported that this has been known since 1922, almost 100 years ago. Frequent drought and large fire is the normal climate of California. But now, according to Berkeley experts, droughts and fires are caused by climate change, and they spawn lots of wild animals coming into the city. Another example of the Extinction Rebellion is right here in Wyoming, where there's too many bison in Yellowstone National Park. I visited Yellowstone 50 years ago when there was only a couple of dozen bison in the park, but now there's over 5,000, and the Park Service thinks that's too many. It appears that extinction has a very different meaning now from what it did 50 years ago. Climate alarmists want to take us back to a time when coyotes and bison actually were threatened with extinction. Science is difficult, and Twitter didn't like me spreading factual, well-documented information on their platform, so they suspended my account tonight permanently. Twitter has a new CEO, and they're engaged in a massive purge of everyone who goes against their agenda. Twitter has become a cesspool of propaganda, fake news, censorship, and misinformation. And they've driven huge numbers of people, including President Trump, over to Gab, which is a much better platform. If you like hearing from me, please follow me on Gab, where I actually have a verified account. And of course, the best source of information is always going to be from Toto, Kyrie, and Caesar at RealClimateScience.com.